Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to show us how to make this beautiful special occasion outfit for a little girl. My name is Ajulam. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time of coming across my channel, you're welcome. Please subscribe and click on the notification bell so you can stay updated on my upcoming videos. So if you're interested in this, let's get started. So I have with me here the items or the fabrics that I'll be using to create this beautiful look. So I have my organza, you can see this is my organza, and I have my net. As you can see, it's a leftover one, but I'm going to use this. And of course I have my satin and my cotton lining. So I'm going to be making this for a 2-year-old baby girl. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is to grab my bodice pattern. Now for this bubble dress, you can decide, there are two ways of going about it. You can either decide to join both the bodice and the skirt part together before attaching the bubbles, or you can attach the bubbles with the bodice and also do the same with the skirt part. So for this, I'll just be creating my bubbles separately and then place it over after joining the bodice and the skirt part. Alright, just follow the way I am doing it. All you need to do is just to work with your own measurement and then you will get it right. So I have my pattern here. Okay, the first thing to do is to create the yoke. Alright, now for the yoke, this is my armhole line, so I'll just cut it off here because my bubble, after attaching it, is going to cover up this space here. Okay, if I'm not adding any bubble, I will just go up a bit by 1 inch so that this chest area will not be too open. But because my bubbles will come over up to this end, so there will be no need of doing that. So I'll just cut this out and I'll repeat the same for the back side. I'll just follow this armhole line and cut it out. So this is now the yoke part, while my satin is going to be on this other side. So I'll just quickly cut this out and then join them together. For the skirt part, I have a lot of videos on how to go about that, but I will still show you how to do that. All you need to do is to cut out your satin using either 180° or 90°, depending on the amount of net that you have with you. And then after cutting that out, you're going to use your net to create layers. That way your dress will come out fluffy. But if you don't have enough tulle net, all you need to do is to add a little hard net to it. But for this age, I don't really like adding hard nets. Okay, but after sewing, you just check what you have. If it's not fluffy enough, just add a little hard net. I will show us step by step on how to do that. So I'm going to start by cutting this out and then cutting it on my satin and of course on my lining, and show you how to join the bodice part before going over to the skirt part. As you can see, I just finished joining both the main fabric and the lining, and this is what I have. So all I'm going to do now is to join the shoulders together, as you can see, making sure that the front is facing each other like this. And then I'm going to close it up, and I'll repeat the same on the lining. I'll join the shoulders of the lining, and then after doing that, I'm going to open it up, place it over, and then close the neckline and the armhole before turning it inside out, and the bodice part is ready. So I'm going to show us how to go about cutting the skirt part before we now add the bubble. So here I have my satin. As you can see, this part is closed while this other side is open. So I'll be using the 180-degree method to fold. So all I need to do is just to take it from this end and then fold it in a triangle way. This is what I have. And then I'm going to divide the waist measurement by 3.14, and then whatever I have, I'll be marking that out here. Okay, after marking it out, I'll now decide the length I want to use for the skirt part. So for the waist measurement, it is 20 inches divided by 3.14. I'll have 6.3, but I'll be making it 6.4 because of my zipper allowance. Remember to do that. Okay, and then again for this bodice part, you know, before joining, as you're cutting this out on your fabric, make sure to include your sewing allowance. Any way you cut, make sure there's a sewing allowance there so that you don't end up having a short bodice. Alright, so I'll just go ahead and mark whatever I have now, 6.4 on this end, and then mark out the length before, you know, maybe I'll be creating 2 lines or 3 lines depending on the net that you have. Okay, so let me just quickly finish this part so we can join it together with the bodice, and then I will show us how to attach the bubbles on it. Right, here you can see I have my half circle ready. Now for the length, I decided to minus 4 inches from the length. The skirt length is 15 inches, but here I have 11 inches. All right, now why I am using 11 inches is because I want the net to extend, as I want to use the net to complete the length of the skirt. So I'll be cutting out 4 inches on my net and then join it on this edge, so I'll have a complete 15 inches skirt length. All right, so after doing that, I am going to measure what I have here now. So this is 11.5. remember, this half inch is for the waist sewing allowance. So for 11 inches now, I'm going to mark the half inch, or rather I'm going to remove it, so I'll be working with 11 inches. So I'm going to divide that by 3. So this is 11 inches. I'm going to divide by 3 and mark the points on my satin. Okay, you can also fold your tape into 3 like this. Okay, and then get the point and mark it on the satin. Okay, this way you save yourself the stress of plenty calculation. Right, so this is it. So I'm going to mark the points now. This is the first, this is the second, and of course the one that will sit exactly on the waistline. Now this is the point. Remember that I'll also add my 4 inches to complete the length of the skirt. So assuming I'm just using this now to be my 4 inches. Okay, you can use something to create the 4 inches. So this is the full length here. All right, now this is the full length. This part you really need to take your time to digest it well. So I have 15 and half inch for the waist sewing allowance. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to measure what I have from this point to this end. This way you will now know what to cut out next for the next layer of your net. Remember that the first layer of the net now is the one that will complete the length of the skirt. Now the second layer, now all you need to do is to place your tape here and take it all the way down to the length, the full length, and I have 7.5 inches. So for this next layer now, I'll just make it 8 inches because you need your ½ inch for the joining allowance on this part. So the first one now is 8 inches. You can just note it out somewhere. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat the same for the second one. This is the point here, and take it all the way down, and I have 11.25. All I need to do is to add my sewing allowance to it, ½ inch. Okay, that is for the next layer of my net. Note that these numbers is what you'll be cutting out on the net. And then for the last one, we already know is 15.5, which is the length of the skirt. Okay, so I'll just take this one at a time. I'm going to cut out my 4, but I'm making it 4.5 now because we need the ½ inch to join it on this hem area. And then that's the first layer now of my 2 is going to be 4 inches. The second one is going to be 8. This third one is going to be 11.75, and then the last one, which is the one to sit on the waist, will be 15.5. So I'll just cut this all out and then show you how to attach it, then join it with the bodice before we now place the bubbles on it. Alright, after sewing in my ruffles, this is what I have. Remember I said that you'll be creating your layers. Now this is the first one. I use this to extend the length of the skirt. So this is the second layer, the third, and then the last one, which is the one on the waistline. Now you can see that I have a very fluffy skirt. So like this, you don't need to add any hard net except if you want an extra fluffy skirt. Now this is the bodice part, which you can see that it's ready. Now what I'm going to do is to join the bodice to the skirt. After joining it to the skirt, I'm going to now decide the length of my bubbles. So at this point, you're going to decide how long or short you want the bubbles to be. Remember I said that you can actually make the bubbles in 2 different ways. The one you can attach either separately or you attach together, that is after joining the front, the bodice and the skirt part, which is the method I'll be showing us today. So now this is it. I'm just assuming I've joined it, and this is what the dress will look like. So I'll just go ahead now and place my tape to decide the length of my bubble. Now I'm coming over to this center neckline, and then I'll just measure 1 inch from there. Okay, so this is 1 inch. You can see I am placing my tape on this 1 inch now, and I'll be taking it all the way down to decide the length of my bubble. So for this, I'll be making it 11 inches. Like I said earlier, you can decide how long or short you want the bubbles to be. So I'll go with 11 inches. So I'm going to keep this aside. Then I'm going to grab my satin, or rather my organza, to create the bubble. So this is my organza, and I have 1 yard here. This 1 yard is by 60 inches. So I'm going to be folding this part that is by 60 inches. You can see this part. Alright, like I was saying, I'll be folding this now. Remember that the length of my bubbles is 11 inches. So you're going to multiply that because we are going to be folding it. So 11 inches multiplied by 2, that is 22 inches. But I'll be adding extra 1 inch for my joining allowance. That is 23 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark out 23 inches. Okay, and remember that we're going to gather this part as well. So this is my 23 inches there. And then I'll just cut So after cutting, we are going to fold again, like I said earlier. Right, by the time I'll fold into two now, I'll have the 11 inches that I needed. All right, so I'm going to open it up now and fold it into two, making sure that the front is facing each other, and then I'm going to close it up on this end. After closing it up, I'm going to give it a very good press, after which I'm going to be showing us how to place it on the ball dress. And before that, I would like to remind us that our online classes are on. So if you're interested in any of it, kindly send me a WhatsApp message for you to get more details about the classes. So I'll just quickly join this and then give it a good press so we can finish up. So this is it after joining it together. Then I gave it a very good press. So the next thing I did was I measured. Remember what I did on this part? I came down by 1 inch from this this center neckline. Okay, I just want the bubble to cover up this, so I just marked out 1 inch is here, and then I place my tip there now and then measure to get the length. But at this point, I'm going to check what I have now from this point to the waist line. So this is 4.5. That is what I have. So I'm going to mark that 4.5 on this and then use my gather stitch to run it. I've done that already, you can see. So this is 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to now gather it till I have the actual waist measurement I'm working with, after which we're going to be placing it now exactly on this waist line. Then after placing it, I'm going to be using my needle to just tack it, especially on this part, so that it will not be moving around, so that it will be steady. And then I'm going to pull my band to cover up this thread so that it will not be visible. So I'll just quickly gather this. It's very easy, just gather to the waist measurement that you're working with. Like I said earlier, all you need to do is to follow the process but work with your own measurements. Alright, so I'll just quickly do this and then place it there so we can round up the dress. Alright, this is where we are. As you can see, I just finished joining that in this waistline. I just finished doing that, and then I use my pin to hold all these. Like I said earlier, you're going to be using your needle to tag this neatly so that it will not be moving around. Then this is what the back looks like. You can see all I need to do is to attach my lining. Like I said earlier, if you want it to be more fluffy than this, all you need to do is to add your hard net to the lining before joining. So this is how it is. Now on this part, you can see that my thread is visible and is not good. So all I'm going to do is either to use my band on this, so that this is just to close the thread, or I'm going to use any trimming of my choice just to close this. And you can see that the dress is already looking so beautiful. So I'll just quickly join this and then attach the zipper and show you the final look of this dress. Alright guys, this is the final look of the dress. As you can see what I have here, and remember that I used just some leftover fabric for this. So if you want to achieve more fluffiness, you're going to be needing like 5 to 6 yards of tulle, and then you can use up to 2 yards of your organza. That is the part that I use by 60. Just make it by 120. That way it's going to be more fluffy than this. Alright, so that is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in my next one.